a member of your fan club. What do you make of a journalist who basically said that, in fact, President Putin hated you so much that it was personal, that he was determined to thwart your ambitions? Do you buy that?
Well, he certainly interfered in our election, and it was clear he interfered to hurt me and to help my opponent. And if you chart my opponent and his campaign's statements, they quite coordinated with the goals that leader, who shall remain nameless, had. So yeah, look, I think Russia is a great country, and I think the Russian people are extraordinarily talented, and I think they are badly governed, and I think they have been denied their opportunities to really join the modern world in a way that will lift them all up. And I also think that when their president came back after having taken a time out to be prime minister, he rigged the elections for the parliament, and I was your Secretary of State, and we do speak out about rigged elections. That kind of goes with the territory, at least it did prior to this administration. And so I did say it was an illegitimate election and it had been rigged. And people, you know, I wasn't telling hundreds of thousands, even millions of Russians something they didn't know. So they go out into the streets in Moscow and St. Petersburg and demonstrate, and Putin blames me, that I'm the one who got all those people in the streets. So it kind of went downhill from there.
And it did. Before I ask you whether you would invited President Duterte to Washington or to the White House, can I just ask you something? Because again, I think many people in the room, look, whenever anybody says they're going to speak to Secretary Clinton, you know, your supporters are sad, they're devastated, they're disappointed, and some are angry. And some say, you know, could it have been different? Could the campaign have been better? Could you have had a better rationale? He had one message, your opponent, and it was a successful message: make America great again. And where was your message? Do you take any personal responsibility?
Oh, of course. I take absolute personal responsibility. I was the candidate. I was the person who was on the ballot, and I am very aware of, you know, the challenges, the problems, the you know, shortfalls that we had. Again, I will write all this out for you, but I will say this: I've been in a lot of campaigns, and I'm very proud of the campaign we ran, and I'm very proud of the staff and the volunteers and the people who are out there day after day. And it wasn't a perfect campaign. There is no such thing. But I was on the way to winning until the combination of Jim Comey's letter on October 28th and Russian WikiLeaks raised doubts in the minds of people who were inclined to vote for me but got scared off. And the evidence for that intervening event is, I think, compelling, persuasive, and so we overcame a lot in the campaign. We overcame an enormous barrage of negativity, of false equivalency, and so much else. But as Nate Silver, who you know, doesn't work for me, he's an independent analyst, but one considered to be very reliable, you know, has concluded, you know, if the election had been on October 27th, I'd be your president. And it wasn't. It was on October 28th, and there was just a lot of funny business going on around that. And ask yourself this: within an hour or two of the Hollywood Access tape being made public, the Russian theft of John Podesta's emails hit WikiLeaks. What a coincidence. So, I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. So, did we make mistakes? Of course we did. Did I make mistakes? Oh my gosh, yes. You know, you'll read my confession and my request for absolution. But the reason why I believe we lost were the intervening events in the last 10 days. And I think you can see I was leading in the early vote. I had a very strong, and not just our polling and data analysis, but a very strong assessment going on across the country about where I was in terms of, the necessary both votes and electoral votes. And remember, I did win more than 3 million votes than my opponent. So it's like, really?
I feel a tweet coming.
Well,